Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends lovers, enjoyers, haters, and retirees. Welcome back to another Patch Notes review video. We are approximately, rounding for errors here, 2 days late to the Patch Notes. Now, I can make up a whole set of excuses, but pretty much I am a working man. I am under the yoke of my employer, and because of that, I am busy. And I'm behind on a lot of things, this included, but better late than never. So here we are, and as people might remember from my previous videos covering the patch notes as usual, I'm not too in love with the patch notes anymore, slash they take up too much time, slash I don't think there's a crazy high demand for them. So we'll be doing these, number one, hopefully a lot more rapid fire, a lot more. I'm just going to look at it, see if anything stands out, and get through it. Or I'm not going to do it at all if I don't feel like it, because to be plainly honest, right, as I said in the beginning of the video as well, I'm addressing the League of Legends retirees, of which I believe I slightly am as well. Bless me. As you can see, I'm getting sick, old, and frail. But we're still here to do the patch notes regardless, even if it might be late. But, it's no surprise to anyone that after almost a decade, if not over a decade actually, of playing League of Legends, I'm a little bit on the, I don't want to say washed, but I'm a little bit on the elderly side where I'm kind of out to pasture, where I've been playing ARAM. I'm really getting back into TFT more and more. And, Rift is not too appealing because it's a huge slugfest. And this is where across the gaming industry, especially in Fortnite, they just released a game mode called Blitz Royale. And for those of you who don't play Fortnite, TLDR, it's basically a 5 minute or less match, kind of similar to Brawl. But this is where a lot of things in society, in the gaming world, are really moving to short form, to just lesser and lesser, way more casual. And League has moved like that, in general for God knows how many years now. But either way, I'm moving towards that as well. I'm not going to say I won't have a grand return one day, who knows, but that also includes my coverage of the patch notes. And I've already described this in other patch notes, but just putting it here just in case. Either way, let's get through this shit quick because I have shit to do. So let's see if there's anything crazy. So this is where, I guess it's from Wild Bloom. Oh wait, never mind, it's Rat Sakar. There's a couple stuff to go over. So this is going to be the official MSI patch and the beginning of Act 2 of Spirit Blossom Beyond. So there's a lot I could say, and I don't want to extend this video hopefully past 30 minutes, but we'll see about that. There's a lot I could say, and I've already said it before for the most part, about the way League of Legends is being handled now. I think the way it's being handled now is very safe, it's very cyclical, it's very corporate. And, as a live service game, I've come to expect this, but the way they're doing it in League, they've had live service in League before, especially with the old Battle Pass system. This is where League has become so corporate now. It feels kind of, I don't want to say soulless because there's still passion in the game, but it's really different, man. Like, this new Battle Pass system, it just ain't it, and it infuriates me to no fucking end. But either way, we are getting some decent updates I do know of in this patch. Every so often, League does like to drop a little soul back into the game. So we're getting the ARAM update, which I've been saying fucking forever that they should do random maps or just, have us pay for map skins. But we went with the light route this time. We went with the good version, somehow. And we have the ARAM maps actually being random and changing and having slight differences between them too, which is great. So we have the new Cochin's Crossing, Butcher's Bridge, and, the good old-fashioned Howling Abyss. That's what it's called. So also, in completely unexpected shit, we have Arena coming back as well for a whole year. Now, this is where I think there's a lot of things to say, but TLDR, it's very interesting. But we'll see. Battle Pass XP changes are now in, so we can grind more shit. Cool. Changes for Summer Rift are mostly small tweaks. Nice, because it's MSI, which means they're really balancing for pro play, which means not much is going to really change for us normies. So they're buffing up Ramus, who they kind of changed a lot since last patch, and like I said, I haven't really been playing Rift, so I have no clue how those landed. And they're buffing Kindred, and they're changing Vi, TF, and Nidalee. Okay, cool, let's see. So TFT patch is also here. That's pretty cool. We have new skins, which I'm going to look at soon. But either way, this is also where we have summer break for Riot. I wish every job did this. God, I wish my job did this. But they don't, and most places don't. But Riot is cool, and they make a lot of money, so I guess they can afford to do this. But this is nothing new. So they're going on a week-long pause, which honestly isn't too long, but, you know, when we were kids, we used to get 2 months, man. But either way, this is where they're going to have some downtime, which means the patch is going to last 3 weeks, which is a great boon to me because that means I don't have to potentially think about doing this for another 3 weeks. By the way, there's going to be 2 new maps to ARAM Cochin's Crossing. This map looks absolutely stunning, beautiful, and amazing. I love Ionia. I love the colors. I love the theme. I love the spirits. I love everything. Which is why I'm really sad that, you know, the new Spirit Blossom is with the new Battle Pass system because I feel like it's so soulless and so ass. But either way, so they're adding 2 new maps, which we know. We're adding Koshins, and technically the other one's not a new map. It is Butcher's Bridge again. But this is where it's going to be random, and some stuff is going to be different on the map, but not too many things. In Koshins, you have the little teleporters. So that's cool. And it's going to be random, and as soon as you get into Lone Screen, you'll know. That way you can't dodge in case you don't get the map you don't want. And there's not really major gameplay differences as they say, so you don't need to stress about having the right champion for the right map, which is cool. So they're also updating rerolls, which this to me is actually a stroke of genius. I actually will commend Riot for the stuff they do well, which isn't as little as I, you know, make it out to be sometimes. I'm very critical of the bad stuff, not too critical of the good stuff. Same as the news. But this is where, instead of using your rerolls potentially and then only having 1 the next game or having 0 the next game, this is where now you have champion cards, either 2 or 3. You have to choose whichever one you want. And then after that, whatever you don't choose is in the pool for anyone to take. And I'm assuming you included. I think it's genius. I think it solves the problem of people hoarding their roles. And it overall lets people have more variety, which is great. So it basically says you get more champions more consistently, which is absolutely the case here. Sometimes Riot likes to lie. This time they're telling the truth, which is cool. Anyway, this is a long time coming. I'm glad it's finally here. And sometimes you'll get even a 3rd champion to pick from. Wow! So here's where we get to the arena stuff. So arena's back for 12 months. Now the biggest thing people are asking, and the biggest thing that it kind of seems like is, if it's around for this long, at this point, doesn't that mean it's kind of going to be permanent? I think this is the last big hurrah that Riot's using. The fact that they're testing it this much means there is enough of a wanting for it. And it's also, I think, where they're going to have a big downfall here. They really have not updated this almost at all from when it went offline. So we're still with the Noxus theme, even though we're with Ionia right now in Season 2. And they really didn't update anything. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do like the slight balance pass, or sorry, I was about to say battle pass, balance changes. But aside from that, I don't think they're going to change anything. And we're literally picking up right where we left off when they turned it off. One of the big reasons they do cite, and obviously, you know, they're major investors, you know, guess who, Tencent. One of the major reasons they did put it online is because China absolutely fucking loved this shit. Like, really, really a lot. When it went offline, people went on PBE to keep playing it. So if nothing else, even if it's not popular in the other regions where, you know, I'm at, which is NA, at least China is helping us do something, which is get another game mode, which is great. I think after this year, and you know, this is where we really got to see, if the no updates really hurt it, I think it's going to be really bad. But they did say they're going to do like a major mid update, but that's going to be after like 6 months at this point. So it really begs the question, if people are still interested in this with almost no updates for a decently long time, then this shit has to be permanent. There's no way. And I think it's the perfect thing too, because a lot of people can't really micro, you know, I guess that's more an arena, but macro play, jungling, you know, tempo and everything like that, they don't really know how to do that, and a lot of people suck dick. And this is almost like Team Deathmatch, but with a little roguelike elements. It's obviously another stroke of genius that Riot had. Again, I do think they're shooting themselves in the foot by not updating it, but if they still have good player numbers and they didn't update it, this shit's going to be permanent. And even if it doesn't, it still might be permanent because enough people might still want to play it. So this is the sad part. So basically, China told them how much they enjoyed it. And yeah, and look, they even say one region flooded it. They're not saying it here, but they said it before, I believe in the dev video, where it was China. So basically, they're going to keep Arena around for a year, which is great. And this is where a lot of the new stuff, they have all the monetization with the Sanuzal Mordekaiser skins and all the $250, the Hall of Legends stupid skin for Uzi. This is where I hope at least some of that stuff is making these things possible, like these alternate game modes. Because at the end of the day, they need servers to run this shit. So, TLDR, I'm glad it's open for a year, although I'm a little scared that they're kind of fucking themselves by not updating it, at least here in the beginning. But it is what it is. So, Battle Pass improvements. Now, the major issue I've always had with the Battle Pass, aside from them taking away a lot of player agency and player choice with getting tokens and choosing what to spend it on, now you're kind of at the mercy. And there is still other stuff in the past that is decent. Like there is still some orbs in there, and obviously there's like chests, but those are free. And then there's like emotes which no one cares about. There's a lot more shit in the past that if you don't play these champions, like the skins, which are probably the main thing you're buying it for, then you're kind of shit out of luck. And if you're like me where you want to get all the orbs, but you don't want the skins, you have to take the good with the bad. And it really sucks because it feels like a digression from before. And it's very nasty, disgusting, and ugly. But sadly, I don't think we're going to go back. At least for the time being, we're not going to go back. So we kind of just have to sit with it and hope and pray that Riot changes it at some point in time. Because it's definitely not the best iteration. I do think the chess system isn't the best iteration we have, but the battle pass definitely is not. And I don't know if people just aren't talking about it. Now, aside from the whole way it's structured being ass, going now to what they're talking about, which is XP gain, excuse me, is also a little bit of a point of contention for me. The old battle pass, you could play anything and you could progress. And for the most part, that's pretty much true here as well, because I've barely really played League. I have played Blitz, but barely really played League. But I've gotten a lot of the past progress from TFT and from Blitz and from all the other things. So it's great I don't have to play Rift. But this is where one of the big things they changed, and it's such a small thing, but it's a big thing to me. For some reason, you cannot do the repeating mission on TFT. All the other missions where you have to gain points, you can. For this one, you can. And some people were talking about it, although I think I'm in the minority of this group, where not many people were, but the people who did play both, which I know is rare, were complaining about it at least when the first Battle Pass came out and they realized it, but it didn't really gain enough traction. I don't think Riot even cares if they even know. And it really feels like it's just not going to be changed. But hopefully we can be hopeful. So let's see. So let's see what they say. We will make sure it feels good and respects the time. Oh, I remember what they're doing here. They said this in the dev update too. So basically, they're making it so missions can last for a little bit longer. So instead of lasting 1 week, I think they last 3. So eventually they will cycle out, but you have a lot more time to do them. So this is where for Champion Mastery, they're moving it to a mission instead of tying it to specific champions. So this is where, and this was both good and bad. I think this encouraged cool things, but you also have to question, were they doing this in ranked? And if so, God help that game. But this is where they encouraged you to kind of play new champions to get mastery on them and to progress the battle pass with XP rewards. The problem is, what if you suck? Then it kind of felt like shit. Now, granted, you didn't need to do these to really finish the pass, but it definitely helped. It was a decent amount. So now they're saying, you know, you could play whoever you want, and we're good. So that's good. So what was their intention? Way to find a new main or two based on the personalized recommendations. Now that it's been live, So basically, no one's doing this shit. Basically, they saw the numbers. They're like, okay, no one's doing this shit, so we're changing it, which is good, which means they're paying attention. And then finally, the catch-up mission. So again, instead of lasting for a full week, they're lasting for 3, which is great. So if you miss a week, you're not going to feel like shit. And then we have Windows compatibility mode. They're removing the ability to launch League or TFT in compatibility mode. Okay. And it just won't launch if you're in it. Okay, cool. Reporting updates. So this is where this goes into the bigger topic, the broad topic. And you know what's ironic enough? I feel like I'm going to spend all this time on all this other shit. And then when we get to the actual balance changes, I'm just going to glaze over it. But that's fine. We do this how I want to. So either way, this is where, as I've said for a long time, League has really gone a lot harder on people trolling, people harassing, just kind of banning people in general. And League was known as one of the most toxic games there is because it was true. This is where I feel like League now compared to back then is leagues better, no pun intended, not only with how well they teach you the game, not only how better, I don't want to say good, but how much better the new player experience is, and just also how much Riot polices the community now. Now people are relatively scared, and I still think there's prison islands because when I play with my toxic friends, I see toxic people. But for the most part now, I barely see what we would consider back in the day to be really toxic. Like, yeah, people today are kind of sensitive and they kind of see it as bullying, but man, it is nothing compared to back then. And even then, you got to be scared with what you say today. So, this is where I always say, where is the line? Because Riot seems to just keep pushing and pushing more and more. Like, yeah, we're cracking down on it. Yeah, we're more serious. Yeah, don't even call anyone stupid head or else, right? And this is where I think they did a great thing. It really doesn't do much in reality, but it helps a lot with morale. Now, when you report someone and they get banned, you get their name. You're like, oh, yeah, this person was banned. Before, it would just say a person was banned. Now it's telling you exactly who, so you get the feeling of retribution. But that was in the previous patch. That's not this one. Let's see what they're doing now. And let's see if they go over the line. So, a new rank manipulation report category. When someone wants to report someone for boosting or purposely deranking, select a random category. Okay, cool. So that just gives us another option to really say what it is. Nice. The intentional feeding report has also been renamed to disruptive gameplay. Oh. Players will no longer receive AFK penalties if they reconnect to the match progress and win. Oh, that's actually really good. Holy shit. So even if you were AFK and you bring it back, then you're alright. But if you lose, then you get punished. I actually really like that a lot. And they've adjusted the report feedback to 14 days to 3 days. Oh, so they would wait 14 days until they told you? And now it's down to 3. Wow. They're really getting serious with this shit, which is great. I don't think they're passing a line. I think this is just overall better, and it helps for more accurate reporting, which is great. This is good. And finally, the champion changes. So let's see. I'm not going to go over what I think of them unless I think they're a problem, and I'm not going to go too much over the changes unless I think they're a problem or really good. So let's see what they're doing. So W. So she can't cancel autos, and then the cast time scales down with attack speed. This is okay. This is pretty good. Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks kind of sucks, they say, so they're buffing his damage by 5%. Nothing crazy. GP. So GP is a very feast or famine champion. Oh god, I'm running back into the issue. I'm gonna go too far in. So basically he's a very high skill cap champion. Let's see what they're doing to him. I don't think he's in a great spot though. So the mana cost is going down by 5. Okay. And then the R Cannon Barrage is going down by 10 seconds cooldown. Decent. Little changes here and there. So Irelia, what is a constant favorite in pro play, excuse me, they're buffing. The attack speed is going up early, not by much, but decent. And it's per stack too. So the max attack speed is going up by 10% early. And that's pretty much it. That's ass. Kindred, the cooldown of R is going down early. So more playmaking potential, I guess. Okay. Nidalee, I hate this champion. Everyone knows that if you watch this shit. I fucking hate Nidalee. I think she sucks ass, and apparently Riot agrees because they're buffing it, or they're buffing her, her bread and butter, her Q based on max distance. So you're really gonna start chunking people a little bit more, and nothing else changes. So it's getting buffed by like another 25%, not overall, but just added on. So it's actually I think half of 25% technically because it's double than 100. It's like what 12.5% buff technically, if my math is right. Either way, I think Nidalee still sucks ass. The main problem is her kit is single target, and a lot of that stuff doesn't necessarily work in League anymore compared to what there actually is. Rammus! So, they said that the Rammus update was a little bit successful, but they want to just push him up a little bit. His health is going up, his bonus armor and MR is going up by actually a good amount. Holy shit. 27 to 47 is pretty good. Now, this might be deceptively good, because as I've always mentioned, armor doesn't scale well the more you get of it. So even though this looks really nice, and early it might be, even though I don't think you're maxing W, though I don't know anymore, this is where it doesn't mean much if you already have a shit ton of armor and MR, which on Rammus you should. It'll give him a little extra boost, but it's not as strong as you might think it is. So this is whatever. Oh wow, they're actually touching Rise. And you know what's crazy? I heard I think Faker was playing Rise and he was sucking dick at it, but I might have misheard that because apparently Riot doesn't think he's weak. Because if Faker's not doing well in it, I'm assuming it's weak. But either way, the Rune Prison is getting nerfed by 10. And the man is getting nerfed also by 10. 10 early, but getting buffed later by 10. This is whatever. I honestly don't think this is crazy, but this is where small changes like this matter a lot for pro play. For us, it really doesn't matter. TF! So he's doing too good, and they're nerfing his ult because he's too mobile. Okay, and he's apparently the strongest mid laner in the game. Wow. I remember when they did like that whole stupid buff to him where they tried to make him like go AD, and I think it was too good, so they had to nerf it, and now he's just back to being a boring old mid laner. So it is what it is. Vi, oh my god, that's a lot of reading. All for just a 2% change in the passive. So they're probably trying to justify what they did, but this is a little bit of a change, not much. Yorick, they're nerfing him again. Wow, they're lowering his armor. So almost no change here was crazy, which is kind of what I expected. It's the it's the MSI patch. ARAM. Uh, da, 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 da. Oh, so this is just for ARAM. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna go over these. This is nonsense. Skin English VO updates. Oh. Oh, so this is where, ironically enough, I know about this from my gacha games with Genshin. This is where there was a lot of voice actor strikes because they didn't want to be replaced by AI. I don't think they even really won, but it is what it is. But this is where Riot got affected too, and now some skins are getting their VOs. So they're getting Spirit Blossom Morg, Spirit Blossom Karma, which are both big skins. I believe the Morg one is a exalted skin, which means it's like, what is it, like $250 again? And it's pretty decent, but it does have some shortfalls. There's a guy on YouTube called ExoLol, I believe his name is, and he makes really good videos, so go check him out if you want to know more. And the Karma one is hot garbage, and it's a lot of recycled bullshit from the other legendaries she has. Why she's getting two, no one knows. But now they're getting their VA, so I guess that's decent. Nothing crazy. So here, the Sanctum and Mythic shop. So yeah, Morgana's coming in. From all the exalted skins so far, which really isn't saying much because it's just Jinx and Mord, I do believe this is the best one, and they actually did try more than the other ones, but I still think for the price point, these skins need to blow your fucking wiener. Like, they need to come through the screen and blow your dick to justify the price, because so far, even though it's great, it would have been a good legendary. It should not be an exalted skin, but it is what it is. Either way, we have new finishers, which I think are a scam because if you buy them, or if you don't buy them and someone else has them, you see it anyway. But at that point, you're at the mercy of whatever they have. But this is not cheap. 250 Mythic Essence is not cheap. Either way, yeah, so Sanuzal is leaving. Cool. So what are they doing? We're buffing Mythic Essence in the Sanctum. Nice, and I just spent some too on Zeri. The Sanctum will be distributing more Mythic Essence per Ancient Spark on average. So what about all the people who already rolled then? We'll be adding 2 Mythic Essence anytime you are rewarded an icon or emote. Oh. We're increasing the S tier duplicate payout for Mythic variants. Nice. Okay, so if you already did it, eat shit. So client shop skin preview test. Oh? Everyone will see this and we're just testing this feature? Oh, really? Interesting. So they're actually testing some changes in their 1-hour opinions. They actually really like that. I don't know if I have this. I don't know what this looks like, but I like the idea of it. I like the idea of they're asking us and they're seeing, do we like it? And if so, they'll give it to everyone else. I like that a lot. Bug fixes out the ass, and then finally the skin. So yeah, wow, this was a ass, boring, stupid patch. But we did it quick, so let's see what the skins are. So we have Prestige Spirit Blossom Z, which I believe is the final thing in the past, but I don't know. But it looks like a really good skin. I always like the Spirit Blossom skins. Obviously, we have Morg. We already talked about that one. Akali looks good, but it honestly looks very similar to some of her other skins. Spirit Blossom Quay, I think, is really fucking good. Nidalee looks, for some reason, out of the norm, and I think that's because they're having two sort of sides here. They're having Spirit Blossom Demon side, which is Zed, Akali, and I think Quay, because they all have like the little demon horns, and I guess Morgana too. So they're kind of like Azakana, I think. And then we have the good side, which these are not Azakana at all. They're not demons. They're actually just, I guess, good spirits. So there's that. The Kale one I think looks really good. The Karma one is a legendary and sucks dick, and then Nidalee is Nidalee. I think it looks unique, but it looks too unique. And that's basically the patch. Also, that does not look formatted correctly. But either way, that's the skins. Their in-games look pretty nice, if you could tell from here. And that's pretty much the patch. So it's pretty much a boring as shit patch. I will give them points for the ARAM being pretty decent. But everything else is just tiny changes that are really going to affect pro play, not really for us. The reporting update is good. The compatibility mode is kind of ass, but it's whatever. Catch-up missions are great. So everything outside of the game, I think, is getting better as much as it can be without them reverting the battle pass. But sadly, they didn't give us, the repeating XP for TFT for some reason. But it is what it is. This is where everything else, I guess, is okay. Arena coming back is nice, but again, they should have updated it. Everything else is nice. Overall, honestly, the weakest part of this patch was honestly the balance changes because they were boring as shit, and that's usually what I go the most into, which is a mistake on my part sometimes. But overall, I would say it's a decent patch, even for people who don't play Rift, which I really appreciate. I appreciate if you don't play Rift, there is other stuff here, like Arena and ARAM. So honestly, I'll give this one a solid 6.5 out of 10. 5 being neutral, I'll give it 6.5 Mark Morales out of 10. The skins are decent. Again, it's sad that the Morgana one, it is the best one, but it's still not, in my opinion, up to the standard it should be. And Karma shouldn't even be a legendary. This shit sucks dick. But it is what it is. And the Akali one is like, or sorry, the Nidalee one is weird. Akali one's pretty good, but again, blends in with her other skins. Overall, though, this was pretty decent. I'm glad I got through it quick. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And as always, if you want me to go more in depth, let me know. But other than that, I'm either going to do it this way, hopefully nice and quick, or just not do them at all based on my feeling at the time. But I do hope everyone enjoyed, and I do hope everyone watches me at Twitch TV/Tecnics channel. Eee!